All right, I think we're live. Yes, so my name's Konstantin. I'm with Beyond Sports. I'm very happy to be here today to discuss about the new way to experience sports, still based on tracking and data, but to give you an idea of what we're doing. And maybe as a quick look back on how this all started, it started with this gentleman here on the right, which hopefully most of you guys know. This is Louis van Gaal. One of the most known coaches, at least in football, soccer, on the world. He won, I think, 20 or 30 titles with different clubs. And roughly 6 or 7 years ago, right when the Oculus Rift came out of Kickstarter here in Europe, he kind of got his hands on it because he was in the same room as then our now CEO, so our co-founder, and was doing that roller coaster ride and was really impressed by the technology and said he needed something like this for his players in order to train them, in order to give them the ability to immerse themselves into that technology, and challenged us back then to build something for him, which we did. And yeah, 6-7 years later, we're very happy that we have the opportunity and the privilege to work with organizations that are here, but also many others, and have actually worked on a couple of projects, both on the B2B side and also looking forward into the B2C realm. So what is it that we actually do? We are a Dutch-based company, so we're based north of Amsterdam. We're a sports tech company, and we specialize in analyzing and then ultimately visualizing positional tracking data in the context of team sports, starting with football. That's great, but what does this actually mean? And I'm happy to kind of just show a couple of examples on how the technology works, and to give you some ideas. So basically what we're looking at, like what the data scientists and our 3D modelers look at on a daily basis, are dots. Those are coordinates, and they're coordinates on a field. They look at these coordinates that are being sent to the systems on roughly 25 frames per second. And all of these dots represent a certain object on the field. In this case, it's players of the teams, the ball, and the referee sometimes, in this case not, because the data is not being sent. And we then interpret these dots, literally just the coordinates, and are able to create a 3D simulation that allows us to kind of go into fully immersive views and angles and point of views, such as these, then going even on impossible camera angles behind the player, even into the player's head, or from the goalie's perspective. And the good thing is that we do all of this in under a second, so we can basically broadcast live as this happens. The idea obviously behind it is plentiful, so we have lots of different applications for this. So where does this kind of technology make sense? And I want to break it down to roughly 4 different parts. The top part is a bit more B2B focused, and then the bottom part is a bit more entertainment and B2C focused. And as you might have thought, the top left corner is everything which has to do with player performance and match analysis. And this is the initial idea that we discussed with Louis van Gaal. And basically what this allows us to do is to take the data that the elite teams, in this case, Ajax Amsterdam or AZ Alkmaar, are streaming from the games, and basically going into this game and being able to relive the moments, and then make decisions. So we have a whole match analysis suite that allows them to train and learn from their mistakes, or just basically understand some of the decisions that have been made. But actually where we saw the biggest improvement in terms of this technology is when we applied it to academy players of AZ Alkmaar, for example, which have been training with a VR headset, roughly only 15 minutes for 2 sessions, 15 minutes a week, so half an hour a week. And that has allowed them to understand how fast the professional game is and how fast the elite players are playing, because they don't have the possibility to obviously play with other elite players. And gave them the possibility to make decisions faster after this training, up to 1 or 2 seconds, which in elite football is actually quite a lot. And we've also scientifically proven this. So there's a whole kind of match analysis and training suite linked to that tracking data. While we were building that technology, we also realized that actually there's a lot more that we can do with this. Depending on the graphics, obviously, is that we're able to kind of have a virtual cameraman that can fly through the stadium all while the game is happening. And that kind of gave us the idea to work with broadcasters to do post-match analysis via scenarios that we're obviously discussing with the producers. And maybe you've seen these kind of scenes where we work with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville at Monday Night Football on Sky Sports, where they're kind of dissecting a couple of scenes and going into the player's point of view in order to explain specific scenarios on the defensive or the offensive and give the viewers something a bit more engaging. So those are the scenarios here, and it's actually interesting to see, like, this was a game roughly, I think, a couple of weeks ago from the English Premier League, where the referee was actually confronted with that specific point of view, because in the game he actually made a decision which in retrospect was deemed wrong, potentially because number 31 here was actually obstructing the view. But obviously they don't have the technology on the sidelines, but we were able to have an interesting discussion with the referee based on that. The other aspect is more in accordance with the data enhancement capabilities of the platform. We work with most of the data tracking companies out there, and we actually have the ability to stream the data that they're collecting during the game and visualize it right away just for them, and also look at the different feeds that they're sending us based on the live feed, like you can see here, or the live delayed or the produced feed of data, because those get better as we go. And then we're able to visualize this. And as you can see here on the top right, on the live feed, the ball is kind of missing from the live data, although it is happening in the real game on the top left. On the live delayed, you see the ball, but it's kind of in between the legs of the player, so also not very accurate. And then at the produced feed, the ball is in a better position. Also, the ref has different positions. So it kind of helps to quickly visualize which data tracking companies and providers are being more accurate with their tracking. And that's very helpful to work with organizations such as leagues or federations to also choose and help choose which kind of data companies they want to partner with. And so we kind of a link in between and working as consultants with those companies. And it looks something like this. I personally don't really have an idea of what this actually represents, but it actually shows which kind of error locations are happening, and that makes it more useful for the companies that need that sort of data. The last part and kind of the bottom part of that matrix, if you remember, is the kind of the B2C areas. So the main thing that we saw is that the applications are still only reserved for the top, for the elite. So we want to see how can we actually get that technology to the end consumers, because it's very engaging. They have the ability to relive scenes, zoom in, zoom out, and see games from different angles. And so we ran a test earlier this year for the NFL, for the AFC final, where we actually were live streaming that game in a completely virtual environment. As you can see here, it's not even humanoid. We've kind of recreated a Minecraft character feel with two commentators, geo-blocked here in the Netherlands. And this game on Twitch was actually more successful than the game that was broadcast on linear TV, which with the real people basically. So we really realized that there's an opportunity here to bring this type of content to the end consumers and also have new fans engage with that content. Being all virtual, you can also have some fun with it. So for example, if somebody's blocking, you can basically have the person fly through the air, because the applications and the possibilities are quite limitless. Again, here, crazy camera angles that you wouldn't have without this type of technology. And again, here, you can play around with some of the animations for clips on social media in order to monetize the type of content. And it just makes it that much more engaging and applies to a whole new generation of fans. Then we're also thinking, how can we actually get this technology not only into the hands or like the streamers, we also want to give that technology to the actual end consumers. So together with the Eredivisie here in the Netherlands, we're working on solutions to get the exact application of the data into the hands of the end consumers in order for them to be able to apply all of those things. And even play with the content. So for example, if you want to recreate a scene in Lego characters, you obviously can do that, because again, once we've created those designs and those characters, you can therefore have fun with them, and basically as an Instagram filter or as a Snapchat filter. Looks a bit like this. You have the ability to create different camera angles, create different environments. You can play on the moon, you can play on Mars. You can then select the different camera angles, select different zooms or movements in the cameras. And then also share those clips with the people that are following you. And you can also select your favorite teams in order to have a personalized experience, again, all tailored to the needs of the new generation of fans. It's also nice because we're able to do this with the Premier League for the next 2 seasons. We're currently working on a partnership with Stats Perform that are collecting that data for the Premier League and hoping to get more and more of this technology into the hands of the end consumers, and also to be able to provide more insightful points of views during the broadcasts of a specific game or of all the games. I believe the 10 minutes are up, so this is my time. Here's a little bit more information about me. I'll be at the virtual booth for the next hour or so, and also be on the conference, obviously, but you also have my contact details, so if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.